Essence 20 is a role playing system developed by Renegade Games Studios. It uses a d20 plus modifiers in the same way that a lot of d20 systems, such as Dungeons and Dragons, will do, making it quite easy to pick up. The biggest difference here is that in place of a fixed value, Essence 20 uses die rolls for those modifiers. There are 4 attributes for each character known as senses that start with an S: strength, speed, smarts, and social, hence Essence 20. This system is used in several Hasbro properties like the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and the soon-to-be published My Little Pony. The Essence 20 game uses a d20 die plus a set of regular polyhedral dice and something to represent a d2. This is often a coin flip, but I prefer to use an alternate color d6 and just treat odds as 1 and evens as 2. Remember, regardless of your use of a die or a coin, the d2 is not a skill die, and that'll be important later. The basic die mechanic used in Essence 20 is a d20 plus a modifier, which may sound super familiar if you're used to any other d20 games. But rather than a fixed modifier for your checks, it uses a die roll. The more highly skilled you are related to the task you'd like to accomplish, the larger die you'll use. You'll roll the d20 plus your skill die, or in the case of a d2, your coin toss, add those results together, and compare it to the difficulty number of the task you're trying to accomplish. To succeed, your score must equal or exceed the difficulty value for the task. Edge and snag are conditions that affect the d20 itself. Think of these like advantage and disadvantage in a regular d20 system. If you have the edge on your roll, you will cast 2 20-sided dice and pick the larger of the results. If you have a snag on your roll, you'll roll 2d20 and pick the lower of the results. You will most often suffer a snag if you're attempting a task using a skill with which you have no proficiency. Critical and fumble are mechanics that look at the result of your roll and the dice involved to determine if something wonderful happens or something potentially disastrous can occur. A fumble occurs when the 20-sided die is a 1 and the total result of it plus your skill die does not meet or exceed the difficulty value. So, you failed your task, and the d20 is a 1, that's a fumble. A critical occurs when your skill die is its highest possible result, and the total of your d20 and your skill die meet or exceed the difficulty number. So, you succeed, and your skill die is its highest possible result. When you make a skill test in the situation where you are specialized in that skill and that situation, you will roll all of the dice leading up to your skill die. For example, if your skill die is a d8, not only will you roll that d8, but also the d6, the d4, and your d2. You will only count the highest of these results. But if any of them, other than that d2, are the maximum result that the die can achieve, you have potentially scored a critical result. An important mechanic in the Essence 20 system is shifting. This uses a chart called the shift ladder. Here's the one from the Transformers game, and it will come into play when you have situational bonuses or penalties. The die used will go up or down. These are generally skill dice that are going to go up or down, but if it drops to a d2, that roll can no longer provoke a critical success. Many abilities provide an edge, a snag, a shift up, or a shift down. However, GMs can also determine that the situation impacts a character's ability to accomplish a task, and if so, how. Generally, edge and snag represent broad circumstantial benefits and luck. An upshift or a downshift, on the other hand, directly affect competency. So if Cliffjumper needs to find his way through a city, bad weather may cause him to suffer a snag, but an onboard GPS giving him directions will give an upshift. The Essence score itself will influence a few factors, but it's not quite the same as in other D20 games. Having a high strength doesn't necessarily mean that you will succeed in more strength-based endeavors, for example. Also, every Essence has a defense, so as you increase your strength, your toughness also increases. The number of points in an Essence is the number of ranks of skills and specializations within it. A character with a high speed Essence, then, will not only have a high evasion defense, but also more ranks to devote to skills in that category.